What's going on, everybody? This be your boy DJ Anonymous with Sports Biz Music, the podcast, episode 36. And I got a special guest. I got the lovely Jenny Sweets.
How you doing? I'm good.
I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you. I've heard a lot about you, so I was excited to be here.
Yeah, shout out to Hayes, the whole TGT gang, you know what I'm saying? Before we, go deep in the podcast, I always ask this question to everybody. Before, just 2 days ago, I didn't know that you have your own clothing brand and everything else. I thought you were just a model, but before we touch that, I like to ask, where it all started?
For a long time, I've gone through trying to find my passion, what I want to do. It's for some people it's easy. Some people want to be doctors. Some people want to rap. Some people want to sing, and I wanted to do dancing for a long time, so I wanted to open up a dance studio. I went to school for ballet, modern, and jazz.
Okay.
So I wanted to open up a dance studio. I wanted it to be somewhere, where kids could go instead of being on the street, and they could, come somewhere recreationally. I wanted to do showcases and stuff like that. But it didn't happen. So I spent a whole year kind of finding myself, and I started modeling. So I started modeling, and at first it was just for fun, but then people actually started contacting me, look, for cross promo, we need a model for this, we need a model for that. And, in the beginning you do a lot of work for free just to get your name out there. So I started doing that. One day I had this person contact me through Instagram that they were having a fashion show in Las Olas, this store called The Archives. So they wanted me to go just to model. It was a live event type thing and stuff. So I went and I met the designer, really dope designer. His name is Tony Vision. Shout out to Tony Visions and Forever Lavi. Then it was this dope fashion show with bulletproof vests and masks and all that. Through this event, I met a group of people. We had a meeting afterwards, and we decided we wanted to start doing events. So it was 2 fashion designers, a guy that kind of does all of our PR, myself that was just a model at the time, and we were going to create this event in a month, and it was going to be this huge fashion show, and we called ourselves the Foundation. One of the designers, which is Tony Visions, he didn't go to school for fashion. It was just he bought his sewing machine and he just started doing it, and I was so in awe of how you could create something, and because their clothes are impacting, it's much more than just trying to get there as a fashion designer. It's cultural. So I was you know what, I want to be a fashion designer. I want to start, and thanks to Jay Hayes, he got me my first sewing machine.
Shout out to Hayes.
Gang.
And ever since then I've just been trying to sew as much as I can. And now we have this TGT event coming June 2nd, and it'll be my first official debut for Broken Robots. So
shit, that's what's up, man. I didn't even know that, of course, that you also a stylist as well.
Yes.
So, this a question. The modeling industry, what was what is your experience of being a model so far?
So, initially that was the plan. I was going to do modeling. I wanted to blow up as a model. I got a sponsor in London that I'm actually supposed to be going out to London for 2 weeks a month to do some photography, some photo shoots that we have set up out there.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I leave in August. So my plan was that I had already decided I wanted to do clothes. I made my first piece the day I did my first event for the foundation. And I was you know what, I'm going to focus on the modeling thing. I'm going to blow up. That way I have a name already, and bringing out the clothing line won't be so hard. But this just came first. Modeling was great. I loved it. I love the camera. It changed me as a person, honestly, because before modeling I was very insecure actually, and I didn't think that I could really get in front of the camera, and especially, and it's so funny that I ended up being a print model for more lingerie and bathing suits versus anything else. And you know what, it's not as easy as it looks. My whole life I thought, these girls, they just look good and stand in front of the camera. You wake up the next day sore from the arching. You're holding positions. I mean, I've shot for 3 hours. I've shot for 6 hours before. I've taken 600 pictures in just one photo shoot. And it's great. It's great that I can add something to my resume and my portfolio. And this London trip is going to be amazing. I mean, they definitely go hand. I can't wait to model my clothes. That's what I'm doing. And eventually, I want to be the photographer for my clothes. So
That's what's up. And then your clothing brand is called Broken
Robots.
Broken Robots. Why is it called Broken Robots?
I love that question.
It's like a unique name though.
It is. It's very. So when I decided I wanted to create clothes, like I said before, I wanted to do something. My mission is to create something, whatever it is, whether it be my clothing line, whatever I open up my business, I want it to be something for the culture, for the people, for the community, you know? So I was sitting down, drawing one day, trying to figure out, because that's the first thing, is name and logo. And I was like, man, I want something. Everybody right now is a robot. Everybody wants to look like Kylie Jenner.
Yeah,
society
they
wants.
the trend
Society is all about trends right now.
Yeah.
Everything is about what sells. Nobody does anything for the long run. You know, they do it for the shortcomings, for the money, for the fame. So I was like, you know what? My robots are broken. Broken robots. We're outcasts. My clothes are very different. They're very edgy, very dark, very like. I like, you know. I'm very into like the 18th centuries, so you'll see some cloaks in there, or you'll see some, you know, space goggles, or it's just very different. And I want the people who dress in my clothes to feel like they can express themselves in it. It's not for the name, and it's not for the brand, it's for expression. So, Broken Robots.
So that's what's up, man. That was deep. That was deep. And one of the major questions I want to ask you was that you're a businesswoman, you know, young businesswoman. It's something it's still rare, you know, especially in our generation, that, you know, just people in general, but especially women, that I guess they are afraid to take that leap of faith. So I guess, like, what is your advice to the young women that's coming up that want to have their own businesses? You
know, before a businesswoman, I was a hustler. All my life I've been hustling. I've been, you know, I wish I could say I came from a great family and I was, you know, raised in a nice house with a white picket fence, but that's not how it was for me. So I've always had to learn how to get it on my own. And any advice I have for the young women out there trying to do something, just do it. Just do it. Whether you start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. I don't have degrees for anything that I know how to do, for the hair, for the makeup, for the styling, for the sewing. And it's just make sure that, because we don't take none of this with us when we die. We don't take the money. We don't take the fame. We don't. You want to leave a legacy. And your legacy is what you do and how you do it and what you want to do it for. So, you know, success is in the eye of the beholder. It's what do you feel? The brokest person in the world could be the happiest because they feel they were successful in whatever it is that they did.
Yeah.
So all I can say is just hustle.
When is your birthday?
August 4th.
Yeah, Leo. Okay, yeah. That's that line of you, that grind. Cause like my granddad, he's a Leo. He's August 13th, and he had a couple businesses. You know, he's old now, so he's got to take that step back. But yeah, I could see it because I like when I was talking to Hayes, I'm like, damn, I thought you just modeled. I didn't know you had all this stuff, but like that's what's up. Like, you know,
I'm very thankful. I like I said, I was blessed. Everything happened. Everything happens at the right time, and sometimes I would be lying if I'm saying that I'm where I want to be, because I always want more. But I think that's the motivation is you should always want more. You should never feel content or settled or satisfied with where you always want to keep pushing, keep making it better. There's always something to do. And whether it's through your business, I just think it's so important that to receive, you have to give.
Exactly.
And that's why it's so important to me. I want to do a nonprofit. I want Broken Robots to be part of a nonprofit organization. I want to work with charities. I want to work with the Children's Heart Association. I want to work with the Cancer Association. I want to do events, and I want to have proceeds that go to all those things. My niece had open heart surgery earlier this year.
Wow.
And
How's she doing?
She's good. It was her second open heart surgery. Wow. She had the first one when she was born. And 10 years later, one of the wires that holds her sternum together was poking her from inside. So, and when they opened up, they realized that one of her valves, because they put like an extra valve. She has this very rare condition with her heart that one of the valves is supposed to be smaller than the other one is like bigger and whatnot. So they had to put something there. Well, anyways, I remember walking into this hospital. I've never been to a hospital like that.
I don't like hospitals.
I
really don't.
I don't like them either, but I've been in them quite a lot for various reasons. But I've never been to this kind of hospital. And we were walking her around the hospital because it was like her exercise for the time. And I remember just looking around and being so in awe. Like, there's these tiny, tiny little babies in incubators. There's kids that live there every day. They don't get to see the outside because they can't. Mm-hmm. Their body just can't take it. And I'm like, man, like, I might not be able to build a hospital, but I can make clothes for these kids and bring them here and donate them. I could come here and do makeup. I could come here and do their hair for a day, and for the girls or for the boys, or I can bring Hayes and he can perform, like give something back to the world that will make you and leave your legacy behind. Because like I said, all that money, all that fame, it does nothing. It'll do something for right now, but it won't take you anywhere.
Yeah, it's rare because like you don't have that same mindset like a lot of people. That some people just want to just come in the industry, get the money, and dip. Like they don't want to give back, even to their own family.
And even if they do it, a lot of people do it for show.
Yeah.
Just to say that they did it.
Mm-hmm. Like you look at like people like Oprah and like just all these people that give back. Like the Steve Harveys and them. Like, and one day I just had to sit back. I'm like, how the hell they get all this money? You know what I'm saying? And I learned for real, like Pete, like Oprah. I'm 26 years old. I'm like, I finally want to know how she get all this money. So we already knew the struggles. I think she worked like a part-time job or something like that.
Till 30, I think.
Yeah,
she
till
was
30.
also sexually abused by her family member when she was younger. So we knew all about that, and then she got the first gig as a talk host and stuff, talk show host. She had her own show. So I went in deep, and this whole time, like, her money is how she generated her money was from her own businesses that she created. Like she has like a whole like like the TV, the network, the magazine. Like she have her foundations and stuff, but then she also invested into like Coca-Cola and things like that. I mean, business is business. At the end of the day, I mean, we gotta live. Yeah. It's just when that becomes the root of everything you do, the money, that's when it becomes a problem. But investing, I mean, that's the first thing you want to do, and that's how they do it. They make their money, they make their first couple million, and then invest. Residual money is where it's at. Yeah. Monthly income, yearly income, and something that's not going to die out. When is Coca-Cola going to go out of business?
Exactly.
So you invest now, and that you don't go anywhere but up.
Are you investing right now?
Not yet, but we will soon. Right now, I'm investing as much of my time into TGT. I want all of us. We all. It's great. It's so funny because never in a million years I would have thought that I would have ended up with the people I grew up with. And it's so satisfying to watch them grow. I'm one of the very few girls that it's in our group. Yeah. And it's even more interesting because they're boys. It takes boys a lot longer to hit a certain stage. But I look at them now and it's like it gives me like gratitude. I'm grateful that all my people were able to come up, and we have the same goal is to do it for the hood pretty much.
Exactly. So you was born and raised in Miami?
I was not born and raised in Miami. I was born actually in Venezuela. Okay. I was raised in Miami till I was 13. I moved to Colombia and I did high school over there for 4 years because my father's Colombian. I moved to New York, so I'm also from New York. And I did college there for about 2 years.
What part of New York?
The Bronx, Boogie Down Bronx. I love my city. And then from there...
So you a Yankees fan?
No.
Fuck.
No.
Nah. I haven't watched any games in a minute, but shit. Yankees is them niggas is legends, man.
I'm aware of the hat.
Paul O'Neal, Soriano, man, come on. Them niggas is legends, man.
It's a legend thing. But in all fairness, I'm not too big on sports.
So, you're not too big? Okay,
so But
I always gotta ask, like, you know, New Yorker,